Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our All Hands Today session. In today's session, we have Ms. Susan as our inspirational speaker and me, Widya, as your host. Later on, we will be moderated by Kak Pandu. Let's start the session by watching our beloved intro. Let me share screen first. All Hands intro. Okay, good morning, everyone. In today's session, we have Ms. Susania as Director of Global Engagement at UC Berkeley. So how are you, Ms. Susan?
I'm great. Thank you for the opportunity to talk to you.
Sure, it's very pleased for me. Next we will take a look at Ms. Susan's inspiring journey. This information is actually came from your LinkedIn. Please apologize if we miss something and you can correct it later, yeah? So Ms. Susan started as a faculty member of the American College of Thessaloniki from 2010 until 2012. And then on 2013 until 2016, she became the Director of International Protocol at UC Berkeley. And from 2016 until now, she became the Director of Global Engagement at UC Berkeley. So yeah, that's very inspiring journey from Ms. Susan. And now we will continue to the first question.
Yeah, and let me just say, those are only a couple of jobs that I had, but I think something that would probably relate to most of you is one of my first jobs was actually working with study abroad students. And so I was an exchange student myself. And then after that, I found the cross-cultural experience so inspiring that I worked at a university with international students. And part of that was at Disney. So also a hospitality company where I worked with a number of interns that would work at Disneyland each summer that would come from overseas and live with a host family. And so I think there's a lot about working with people from other countries that comes from, if you've personally had intercultural experiences. And so for me, it was being an exchange student. And then my first job was in Disney with marketing. And then after that with several different universities, but always with in some way related to international relations.
Wow, that's amazing, very amazing. Thank you, Ms. Susan, for clarifying and adding some additional information. And now I think we can move and jump on to the first question, right?
Sure.
Sure, okay, great. The first question, can you share some challenges where you encounter a significant culture barrier or misunderstanding within a global engagement initiative? And how did you resolve it?
Yeah, I think as you all probably well know, there are always going to be challenges and potential misunderstandings if you're working with people from other cultures and other backgrounds. So I've had some embarrassing ones. I speak German, and I was in a German class one time, and I misread a word. And instead of it being a nice word, it was actually kind of a swear word, but I didn't know it. And so it was definitely a big misunderstanding, but it was more embarrassing because people realized that I didn't know that I was saying a bad word at the time. I also moved to Berkeley from Greece, and before Greece, I lived in Germany, and the cultures are very different in terms of how you deal with time. One culture is very punctual. Another culture, you might arrive an hour late, and so I think understanding the other person, and so I think a lot of my misunderstandings could have been fixed if you really think about, okay, where am I? What's the cultural value? And you really try to meet that cultural value. So in Germany, I remember being one time 3 minutes late, and I was the last person to arrive, and it was embarrassing to my daughter. And in Greece, I would get there on time, and things wouldn't start for an hour or two. So so obviously some misunderstandings around time, sometimes around touching. In Greece, you hug and kiss people. In other parts of the world, you might do a handshake, or you might not touch the person at all. And I think currently in my work, sometimes there are misunderstandings with our Silicon Valley sort of American culture can be quite casual, and we address people by first names. We dress casually, and I think sometimes that can be misunderstood in terms of showing respect, especially often with Asian cultures who come and we really, I think as Americans in the Silicon Valley area, need to show more respect, especially as we have visitors who have more of a hierarchical society. So I think the best way to resolve a lot of these, and you may come into situations like this, is really trying to show empathy and ask good questions and try to understand the people that you're working with. And that goes a long, long way. Help me understand, or tell me, how this came across, really trying to understand the other person. And laughing at yourself. We're going to make mistakes, and realizing that, there isn't one way to do things.
Wow, great. So yeah, I think some key points. One of them is to understanding other cultural values and show empathy. So thank you, Ms. Susan, for answering the first question. We can jump to the second question. The second question is, what situation where you had to quickly adjust your strategies to meet new trends, especially in entrepreneurship and technology? And how did you lead your team through it?
Yeah, these are great questions. I don't know if you wrote them up, but they're great questions. So I currently work in our UC Berkeley Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology. And I would say, just like a startup, we are pretty nimble, and we are constantly, not constantly, but continually adjusting somewhat our strategies. Our overall mission and goal is to really grow innovators throughout the world to positively change the world. But we do change we offer a number of courses. And so we're always looking at what's the next cutting edge type of class that we need to offer. What do students of today, what skills do they need in order to get good jobs, or what sort of communication and people skills do they need to have, and how do we best develop students or help give them the tools that they need to be good innovators and entrepreneurs. So sometimes our strategies, or maybe to meet new trends, like obviously right now, there's so much in the world about using data and AI. And so, 5 years ago, when I was new in the center, we weren't doing really much of anything with data and AI. So obviously being aware of the impact that has on a smart organization and what they're able to do makes a huge impact. So we're continually trying to keep tabs on what's happening in the world, what investors are funding, what types of startups, keeping people coming to UC Berkeley who are from industry, who give us insights into what's kind of cutting edge technology, so that we can just keep offering our students kind of the latest technologies. But all of that is embedded with things that continue in terms of entrepreneurship training, of teaching them how to work well on diverse teams, as it sounds like you all do, how to deal with conflict, because you're going to have it, whether it's on the job or with your fellow teammates, how to deal with failure, how do you recover from that. And so we teach a lot of people skills along the way with, some of these new trends and strategies.
Whoa, thank you for the answer. Yeah, so yeah, we must still keep up for the new technology and new information. So we will continue to the last question, Ms. Susan. So the last question is, how do you measure the impact and success of UC Berkeley's international initiative? And can you provide examples of innovative approach or key indicator that used to assess?
Yeah, so I mean, we measure kind of our international success in a lot of different ways. We do have a number of global partners, and so we don't count each year how many global partners, but that does help us be successful. The global partnerships that UC Berkeley has, we are aware of the number of startups that come out of UC Berkeley, but I think the main thing that we're focused on within our Center for Entrepreneurship and Technology is whether we feel that we can give students good skills and the ability to be a more innovative thinker. And that's kind of a hard thing to measure. We keep track of our graduates, where they go, what they end up doing, and we communicate a lot with the students that leave Berkeley and where their careers take them. So there are surveys that go out. We also have something that's it's called the Berkeley Innovation Index that measures how innovative you are. And so we used to actually have the students take that at the beginning of a class and then at the end, and it would give us just some indication, although it's a self-response, as to how innovative they felt like they were becoming. So those are a few things. Let's see. Another innovative approach that Berkeley uses and that we use at our center is Berkeley has a method of courses. So there are regular classes that are taught at Berkeley for innovators. And then there are a series of classes called decals. And that's where, and actually as a company, you could do this too. Maybe you're interested in learning about something. Maybe you feel like you should have better customer service skills, or you want to learn about a particular data or something in hospitality. And if at Berkeley, if that class isn't offered, then the students, or say in a company, the employees could propose that class. And so a few years ago, for example, Berkeley didn't have a blockchain class. And one of our exchange students started a club, and then he started a class on blockchain. And so students can propose through this system called decal at Berkeley. They can propose class topics. And that's kind of an innovative way that Berkeley is able to allow students to have access to cutting edge technologies, and they're able to fulfill their interests in learning. And so some of those decal classes are some of the most popular on campus because they're student run, and so they're student generated in terms of the ideas of what they want to learn. And so we usually have each semester 2 or 3 decal classes, and that's a great way for us to kind of really engage students in their own learning success.
Wow, that's very interesting. Thank you, Ms. Susan, for answering the question. So yeah, because we still have a few minutes left, and maybe if anybody or anyone want to give question asked to Ms. Susan.
Yeah, or even follow-up questions on the
Sure.
things I said. I'm glad to talk more about what I do or what I've learned.
So
I think
yeah,
one of the
Furkan.
looks like there's a question, right?
Yep. Hello Susan. I'm Furkan. I am the one who talked to you in the email. So nice to meet
Ah,
you.
nice to meet you.
Yeah. So basically, I was wondering about the your answer towards the second question in regards of integrating the cutting edge innovation into the classes. So um, somehow in Indonesia, we actually have a latency of integrating the latest trends that is happening in the industry into the curriculum that is making some gaps between education and also the needs from the industry partners. So may I know how much time that is needed from UC Berkeley to directly convert the class from after observing new trends, technologies, and translate it into the classes, courses, and curriculum to make sure that that your students have the most updated skills, knowledge to perform in the industry.
Yeah, no, that's a great question. One of the things that's interesting about where I work, so obviously I work as part of UC Berkeley, but the center that I work in it's a center for innovation and entrepreneurship that's attached to the College of Engineering. So, for example, within our Center for Entrepreneurship and Innovation, our instructors are all part-time instructors and they're full-time serial entrepreneurs. So they have one foot in industry and one foot in academics. And because of that, they're living and breathing a little bit of a dual life. And so they might be working on their innovation or their entrepreneurial, startup at the same time they're teaching for us, or they're people that have a lot of industry background. So that it's a little bit different from if you were a student at Berkeley. In your engineering courses, the engineering professors are going to be full-time PhD research faculty who may or may not have a lot of connection with industry. And so our classes, with just the little area that I'm involved with, our classes are very hands-on with people from industry that come in and teach them. So they're able to kind of be the bridge between what industry needs and some of the current trends with academia. So you might take an engineering or a business class, but then you might take an elective in innovation and entrepreneurship, and it gives you really a taste of, you're still getting credit for a class at UC Berkeley, but it's very hands-on and very focused toward the real business world.
Okay, thank you very much for your answer. Back to you, Vidya.
Okay, thank you, Kak Furkan and Miss Susan. So yeah, uh, thank you, Miss Susan, for coming and sharing in our session today. It's very delightful to able to talk with you. And because the time constraint limit, so our discussion might end this. And yeah, Miss Susan, you're free to stay if you have time, or if you want to attend other obligation, you're free to attend as well. Thank you, Miss Susan.
Oh,
Widya, I'd like to say
Yeah.
some final words for Susan here. So I'd like
Yeah.
to actually, it's such an honor to have Susan be part of our All Hands this Tuesday morning or Monday evening here in California. So Susan and I met just by coincidence at Loca, in fact, which is the beach club right outside of our office. So she came up to me after I had given a speech and said, "Oh my God, you went to Berkeley," and I was so excited to actually see Susan as well. Incredibly, the Sutarja Center of Entrepreneurship and Technology, is actually started by an Indonesian gentleman, Sutarja, who came from Jakarta. He went and studied at Berkeley. And he met his wife, I think, in an elevator ride at Quarry Hall, which is where I was basically imprisoned for 4 years, right?
Oh.
Well, no, I had great times. It was just really, really challenging.
Oh, that's amazing. Everything ties back to Indonesia, right? I mean,
Which is
my first time to Indonesia was let me think, 29 years ago. when I was
Mhm.
pregnant with my son. And at the same time, there was an Indonesian couple in Jakarta, and they were pregnant with their daughter. So fast forward 28 years, that family immigrated to Southern California, and their daughter married my son. So my daughter-in-law is Indonesian. So I've had a lovely relationship with Indonesia. But there's a strong influence from Indonesia at UC Berkeley. You know, several of the economics ministers, I think, came and got their degrees. And yes, our center is named after Pantas Inting Sudarja, who generously, I mean, they were very successful, and they wanted to give to the next generation of innovators. And so their generosity helps fund our center so that we can teach innovation courses for the next generation.
Incredible, incredible. And thank you so much, Susan, for showing up and inspiring me today.
Well, thank you. I think you guys have a great company, and I might sit in and listen for a few minutes, and then I have another call, but thanks so much.
Sure. Okay,
Great to
fantastic.
meet everyone.
Susan and us are actually getting together for our first roundtable talk in California this Wednesday, in fact. So it'll be really fun to also see the extension of our roundtable talk program over. All right, listen up, everybody. I have a fun thing to share, and then I'll get into the serious business side of things. I actually made a video of my journeys last week because I was actually 2 weeks ago at UC Berkeley. So please don't laugh. Well, if you do want to laugh, that's fine. That's okay. But anyways, I learned to use CapCut over a few days, and I made a little video of what I was doing. So I'll share the screen, and let's see what you guys think of this. Okay. For Khan, I'm probably going to take up a little bit more time than my usual for this, but I figure this is kind of appropriate and the timing is good. So I'm just going to play this, okay? So, all right, enjoy the video. It's a presentation by students at the end of semester project. Okay, it's 9 o'clock in the morning. I just emerged from my Airbnb, and I'm down here over here at this bread shop to pick up some bread. So that's really their only thing there is to eat around this area. All right, here's a bunch of bikes. I'm going to find a bike to pedal up to the campus. The reassurance. Okay, I've just arrived at Jacobs Hall. Looks like things are just beginning, so let's take a look on the floor and see what's going on. Controlling the harm itself. Okay. Human interaction by the lecture. And it's going to be putting together frequencies. Okay.
Yeah, so we have a lot of like laser cut parts. Okay. These are bearings that slide up and down these channels in the it's called G slots.
Okay. This is just the next level here. Next level. These two. I don't control. It can be a tiny chamfer. I usually, if I don't want to try at the Sudarja Dye Engineering Center. Okay, this is the hall. Let's step in. That hall was donated by the state of California in cooperation with Sudarja. Indonesia. Okay, this is CS160. It's the Berkeley Computer Science User Interface User Design class right now. These are their final presentations. There's some pretty good ideas. I mean, it's always fun looking at an idea market, right? It's like sort of like a farmer's market, but with different ideas. So some good, some probably will show promise, and some probably better than what I. Okay, next event. So this is the Foam Institute for Engineering Leadership, and this one is much bigger than I thought. Actually, there's a lot of tables, a lot of demos. There's even food at this one, which is excellent. So take a look and see what they got. Flying a 360 camera on a drone to create a Okay, so this is a really fascinating idea of how you can use machine learning to predict whether a startup is going to get funding. It's absolutely incredible. I got to talk with a lot of very, very smart people about super interesting topics. Like I got to listen to Professor lecture about water capture technology, so machine learning algorithms for predicting whether a startup gets funding. Really interesting questions that I've been thinking about for a very long time, and watching that the smartest people have actually put a lot of energy trying to solve these problems. Super exciting. I wish they did this all day. I wish there was a way to absorb all the different ideas. So go Bears, and thank you very much for letting. Okay, all right, so that's that part. All right, thank you.
That's great.
Okay, let's get. Thank you. Let's get into the next part of our all hands. I probably took up a little bit more than my usual time. All right, let's go over here. So vision and mission statement. Where to begin? Over on here. All right, everybody, we're in mid-May today, and I'm here to share a few of the insights on how we're doing. Okay, let's go ahead and run down. There's good news and bad news, as always. So let's take a look at the good news, and let's also take a look at the bad news. Hospitality performance is not in the red zone anymore. It's actually improved a bit. So last week we were at 75.9%. This week we're at 78.4%. So congratulations. I think the operations has actually got us back down from the sinking effect that we had for a few weeks, but we're still at 80%, which is the goal. So more awareness needs to be taken into account. Now, the one thing I want to actually talk about is that performance does fluctuate daily. That's expected, but long-term wise, we're looking for trends that go upwards. So to kind of take a deeper look into that, I've taken a few video captures, and you can see what our hospitality performance has been over the course of a year. So starting from last May, it was, let's see, it was back over here at 75%. That was the low score. It fluctuated to 77, then 73, and then further to 77, and then to 72. But that doesn't tell the whole story. Eventually, coming up past September, 75, 81. That was the first time we topped over 80, 82, and then it sank back to 78, and then it peaked the next moment at 83. Okay, so 83 was our peak, 78.9 was the lowest in our previous cycle. So that's the value that we don't want to go below, because that would indicate that we are retrograding. So as long as we can keep our overall hospitality score above the 78.9 cycle, that means that as a trend, overall, we're doing better. All right, next, I'm going to take a look and show you guys what we see in terms of year-on-year performance. And this is now on track compared to the previous time we took a look at it. All right, so year-on-year performance is tracked over here on this particular graph. In the month of January, we're up at 11%, February 18%, March 18%. April, we had our worst month of growth, only at 4%. Thankfully, this month, we're only down 1% from the previous year, and we still have 15 days to go. So that's a good sign. So year-on-year growth is a bit recovered now. Next is the booking pace performance. So everyone knows that the booking pace has a lot to do with your overall health of the company. So that particular metric on booking pace right now is stabilizing. So before, we'd see fluctuations up and down on the booking pace. Now it's definitely more stable, and it's performing at a higher level, which is also good as well. Next is the next metric that we're going to take a look at, our daily sales. Daily sales also suffered from a lot of high fluctuation before, going up and down, but thankfully these days, it's generally trending above the 12,000, 15,000 mark. So that's also a good sign as well. So the revenue and the growth and the booking pace part of the picture is stabilizing, and the hospitality score is getting out of the particular condition it used to be suffering from, and also rising, but not quite at where the levels we need it at. So for those of you that haven't seen this before, this is a burn down chart showing essentially what our progress is towards the monthly goal. When this chart burns down every day, that's a good sign. When you see essentially rising figures towards the end, that's a bad sign. So based on what we can see at this point, we are heading towards and going to achieve our revenue target if we are able to focus on strategy again. Okay, so that's the good news, bad news part. Let's see, is there any other particulars that we should cover at this point? So let's take a look at the last all hands. On the last all hands, we realized that the revenue goals were improving. We realized that hospitality was off track and getting worse, and the strategy was waking up, and we need more need of development. What about this all hands? At this all hands, I'd say revenue goals are not just improving, they're actually progressing at this point. Hospitality is recovering, but not quite at the levels we are targeting for. And now I think we are waking up to strategic thinking, but we're not fully competent or fully committed to actually exercising strategic thinking at all levels of the company. So progress, but slow progress. Here, it comes all down to personal accountability. If you're not sure of what or how your work ties to any of the metrics that I've been talking about for the past few minutes, then it is your job to find out which metric, hospitality or revenue, that you're supporting. If your manager isn't sure, then it's your job. If you're a manager and you're not sure, then it's your job as a manager to also make sure you're aware of the impact of your work and make sure that's communicated to the rest of your team. Now, what can you do? Inaction is not tolerated. Everyone has a part to play in being able to fix the strategic impact of their work and also the strategic direction of the company. Happily, though, what you can do is quality mistakes for the next month are tolerated. So go share information, ask for strategic guidance, and make a few mistakes. It will be necessary in any particular innovation to try a bunch of different ideas before you actually get on track to figure out what the right direction is. Now, this is the critical insights that we talked about last week. So we asked, if you worked on revenue, what are the things that you would like to repeat this week? If you worked on hospitality, what are the things that we did before we started the holidays and saw hospitality go down? So my strategic mistakes, which I'd like to share in front of everybody here, because it's once again to reinforce this idea that you don't make a perfect strategy on the first try. So some of my strategic mistakes have been in expectations. Employees changing from role to role when they weren't ready, and also implementation of new technologies before it was actually ready to be deployed. So having learned that, I will think more deeply about how to actually set the right expectations as my particular strategical input in this particular frame. All right, now my insights and a demo. So I'm going to show you an insight that we actually came up with that fixed, I think, the performance that we had in revenue. So I'll take just a few moments to bring everybody through as mainly an inspiration for how we can fix problems if we have strategic insight. So one of the insights which we developed last week in revenue management was this idea of a proven workflow. So before we had this, there was no real sequence or understanding of how to structure the knowledge for a workflow leading to revenue management. Now, this concerns everybody. We work here primarily to serve our investors who have entrusted their properties to us. So when, let's say, a particular investor is unhappy or not understanding why they're not making the revenue goals, then we need to be able to break this down and we'll explain to them. So the steps are 4 steps, and they're pretty simple. 1 is prioritizing the right property. 2 is prioritizing the right section of the calendar we need to target. 3 is setting the price. And the 4th step, which is actually an discovered step, was actually deciding when to reprice a particular block. Now, I'm happy to say we ran an experiment over the weekend, and here are the results. The results are we had the lowest burn down of any particular week ever. So this shows unsold inventory across the entire 2 months that in the past. But the key to note here is that lower red bars is better. Lower red bars indicate that we were able to sell more of our inventory and less that was left unsold. So tall red bars no good, low red bars are good. And happily, you can see over this weekend, we actually got, I think there's a live one over here. Here, this is better. All right. Over the weekend, we actually were able to attain really low red bars. And this is good coordination work, good strategic planning. It wasn't possible without the involvement of Bella, Widya, Wayu, and Great as well on our revenue management team. So that is excellent that we were able to discover this. So we can lead and we can discover strategic issues to fix if we all think strategically more often, okay? There are some other things that are in our business plans that we recently realized were a block. We were overly pessimistic on some of the reliabilities. The reliability has since been corrected, but before it was really low. And as a result, people were potentially thinking about engaging us for management, decide to pull out last minute because our numbers were just too low. After having studied the numbers, I realized that they were overly pessimistic and that we can do much, much better. Okay, that is an example of how, by thinking a little bit more strategically, we're able to eventually overcome issues that have been ongoing. Now, everybody who's been to these all hands know that revenue has been a very difficult problem to solve. But thankfully, like I said earlier, I think we're on a progression plan to be able to solve it. And by demonstrating essentially the background on this, I hope we can all see that there is a confident way to build the knowledge in order to get there as such. All right. So one more thing. Normally I talk about curiosity, but I think there's a strategic core value that I'd like to remind everybody of this particular month. And that core value is to fail fast. During a strategic decision-making process, you're probably going to have to pick a few ideas or pick a few things to focus on that you think have the leading impact. What it means is you might be wrong. What it means is you might actually pick the wrong thing, but that is better than not making a decision about how to focus strategically. So I will announce that the core value for the month of May is to fail fast. Try to get through and iterate as quickly as possible through ideas that you think will lend the most impact to your work, rather than doing everything that you did just yesterday, hoping that things will change on their own, because it probably won't. So embrace our values of failing fast. Now, semester goal number 5. We're looking for a revenue goal of 3 million, overall rating of 4.8, and a 5-star percentage of 80%. And in return, we're paying a 5x individual bonus upon reaching the revenue target, measured from April 1st to September 30th, calculated on October 5th. Qualified interns receive 5 million bonus. If we reach the revenue goal and the 2 hospitality goals, we will pay 5x individual bonuses for September's compensation. If we reach the revenue goal and 1 hospitality goal, we'll pay 3x individual bonuses. If we do not reach the revenue goal, then there is no bonus. Okay, so please keep that in mind, because that is something that we really want to fix. All right. Now, bonuses are calculated on the weighted average of monthly individual bonuses, and caps and boosts will apply to underachievement and overachievement months. All right. For interns, 3 goals for 5 million, 2 goals for 2, 1 for 1. And that's it. So it's a pleasure to have Susan actually here today, because I found that our values and the inspiration comes from a very similar source. So our mission is to inspire delight through hospitality innovations that positively transform guest partners, and of course, everybody who works here at Bukit Vista as well. So do think about that and its relevancy in the work we do. Now, I'm going to hand over the remaining time over to yes.
Mr. Okay. Thank you for delivering the vision statement, Mr. Jing. The next is hospitality and revenue target, and will be delivered by Kak Kai. Kak Kaila, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Oh, okay. I'm gonna share screen this directly. Hold on a second. Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for attending, I think, the second week of May. Okay, can you see the screen clear now, or? Oh, good. Okay, thank you. Just run through. This is a bit of announcement. So we launched a new property last week. This is Villa Kaba. Another questions, because most of us, I think, probably have known about this. This is Villa Kaba. It has another property, hopefully coming in, Villa Kama. So let's see first from PUM team regarding if we'll be able to convert it or not. The question here, guys. Okay. Kindly take. I know we're running out of time, but kindly take a look at these 4 pictures. And I would like all of you to guess which of these sections from these 4 photos that you think might be the most effective way to reduce the possibility of bad reviews regarding constructions. Kindly write down your hypothesis or, I don't know, opinions. 10 seconds. 10, 9, 8. I don't know, Bill. Let's just say in-depth, different POV, just POV or wording notice. Which one? Let's guess which one is the most effective. in the picture is direct, different POV. Oh, many of different POV. Wording notice from Mr. Jing. Interesting. Guess no guess POV. Okay, I think okay, all good then. Thank you everyone. Let's kindly see. So this is for the last 3 weeks, actually affecting our hospitality score. The question is which of these actually being the most effective to put on the clear upfront construction disclosure, and the result is here. So actually, Coffee D correct, majority of us correct, in-depth and different POV actually the best one to reduce the possibility of the bad complaints regarding the construction, because I think it personally give you the the sense of really seeing the constructions, and it doesn't really have to be put or arranged on the first page. All of this have been put on the very last page, but certainly what Mr. Jing has put the wording notice, and I think some other people is the worst one to put. So I think this is a bit of feedback for the marketing team, since we're both in the same team in operations. Now, let's try to get the cycle completed between what we have done and how our users or the result of each decisions actually affecting our hospitality score. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Okay, moving on to see. Thank you everyone for helping. But this is only one variable without ensuring on-site operations, only for constructions. Okay, so let's take a look how far we have come regarding our semester target. First one, regarding the hospitality target achievements. Mr. Jing has pointed out the good and bad news, and we are actually seeing some of it here. Regarding accuracy, it's pretty stable, but stable, as we know, is actually a bad news because it means we're not having more good reviews regarding the accuracy. Next, we have the check-in, slight bump up, but barely there. We are at 86%. So let's try to put check-in, since this is our controllable factors, up to 90, I think. Why not? Next, on the cleanliness, this is a bit of a bad news. Again, also a decrease from the last 2 weeks. This is pretty concerning. We are at 78.5%. Let's try to get it back to 80 by this week. Next. On the communications, also concerning, we are down to 83.7%. Shameful, since we have communications on our controllable factors mostly. The analysis will be explained later on. Next, we have the locations. Fortunately, a huge bump up, significant increase. Congratulations to the team. I know, especially the marketing team, they have put on specific work regarding locations for the last 2 weeks. So this is the result on it. Next, we have value. Huge decrease, 0.5%. We are at 78.2%. This is majorly affected, down to 1 star each time we have bad reviews automatically on that part. Okay. Overall, this is the sad news, because what Mr. Jing has informed before is actually correct. We have our downside and we have our bad days and good days, but generally we have to move upwards. But in this part, we're still going on decrease. At the moment, we are 80.2% and 4.70. Previously, we are 4.71, so another decrease. Let's try to see what is happening. Okay, Furkan or anyone holding the administrations for all hands, can you get me like another 3 minutes? I want to bring all of us, all of the team members here to concerning trend in our hospital metrics, which have shown decline on a weekly basis. So despite our recent focus on improving accuracy and locations, which shows promising growth, we have to dig deeper basically on the cleanliness, communication, and value, because apparently those 3 sectors are affecting our hospitality metrics in significant or majorly. We have 2 things. We have constructions. Why I put that on the first page? Because we have to kindly really understand construction is not within our control, but we can try to enhance how we portray that to our guests before they check in. That's why making sure that the wording is effective or the message is effective is kind of important. If you take a look at this, we have the 1-star, this is overrating, 1-star for Amarta, which will lead to upcoming suspension and have to relaunch again. The displays 1 rating and Del Sol 2 over ratings. These are related to the construction, and this is also what I intentionally put on the first page that I questioned before. Amarta and Del Sol, they don't have the significant way to communicate regarding the constructions. I believe the newest listing of Amarta even don't have the proper proper information regarding the constructions. Okay, next up, I think this is pretty new and crucial. This is about communication issues. If you take a look at this communication, this is not a review, this is a communications, but these are pretty horrific, if you'd like to see. Something about us going back against our word. And if you would like to dig deeper, we have this high quality issue actually, because Gaia tend to at first Gaia would respond the guests with our cancellation policy, with our no refund, with our basically strict informations. But after being questions again and again, Gaia also has the tendency to be more lenient and apparently agreeing for refund, for alteration, for shorten, and this actually affecting our communication scores. Recovering is another thing, but let's try to stop having this in the first place, because it is, especially if you take a look at for this specific one, if I keep doing this, I will tell you the wrongs we have done on Google and continue to respond appropriately. Don't you worry about your reputations. Well, let's take a look on this thing, and let's try to make sure that these 4 issues are the last one we'll have to see. I actually have us Krishna to prioritize the fixing for this part. I would try to give a budget on another thing basically, but not on this part, because this is not only affecting our revenue but also our hospitality side due to the compensation that we give. Okay. Maybe some of us have not been aware yet, but Airbnb actually have a new announcement or have a new policies regarding the challenge we face on our operations for supervision and executions. What we need to pay attention more is this new announcement. So Airbnb put it word by word. They would only maintain a high quality properties on their platforms, which is actually reasonable for any platforms, because they don't want to market anything that keeps on having a bad experience, right? But I think for the last 3 weeks, our strategy, or the way we manage the suspensions, the way we recover from our listing is not essentially a correct way. And Airbnb actually put a force into this part. If you have not realized the announcement, it's basically like this. So there will be 2 types of suspensions. There will be the suspension, the original suspension due to quality of listing, due to error in communications, cleanliness, and so on and so forth, which will be alerted through the email that we usually have. And the second one would be on the listing duplications. In this part, no notifications, no emails, no warnings, straight onto the removal of the listing. And the basic consequence, basically for this part, once suspended, the only resource is to contact Airbnb support. There's no way to expedite the process. Once our listing gets suspended, there will be no way to sell the property for the next 3 to 5 days. Completely unsold for that part. If the property has been fully booked for the next 3 or 5 days, it would be great, but nothing. Maybe like we can try to optimize something, but if the property is empty or we have some vacancy, definitely on our loss. Full board properties, especially because it would be on our budget to cover for the partners' opportunity loss in that part. In this side, I would like to announce this, and basically all of us, that we only have 2 options here. Once a listing is suspended, it will remain so until Airbnb reactivates it. If in the worst plan, the listing gets suspended for duplications of the listing, it will lead to almost a month of asking for appeal. So let's try to avoid that. The first priority would be preventing the suspension. This is at all costs. Therefore, we need to basically increase our threshold, no more being lenient. And second one, regarding the enhancing of enforcement, let's try to get our internal standards above and beyond of Airbnb. If Airbnb would suspend our listing within 3 bad reviews, let's try to prevent that or take actions even within 1 bad review. And this will not only affecting the teams working in operations, but this will affect everyone. I would, starting from today, I would expect quality property from the marketing team, from the upper funnel only. I would expect quality work and more prioritizations from the engineering team. I would expect more supervisions and more quality of work from the team working in operations, that's no doubt. So let's try to put this into priority. Suspension will affect everyone in this company, and especially the way we would achieve both our hospitality and revenue. Let's try to put this into our main basically concerns moving forward. Okay, I think that's all. This is for the revenue. I'm just going quick about this. We have a huge leap of significant achievements regarding revenue. I believe this is still on track. We are at 1,150,000. We still have around 139 days. Let's try to achieve this semester target without compensating on the target that we have set before. Okay, I think that's all. Back to you, Pandu. Sorry for the time.
Thank you for the delivery on hospitality and revenue target, Kak Kayla. That's such a very important information. The next is weekly mission inspiration from our partner side. Kak Gani, time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Pandu. So, number one is appeared as first result on the AI search engine. So, after long hours of work in marketing team, Bukit Vista website appeared first in AI search engines such as Google AI, Gemini, and Perplexity for 2 weeks for the keyword "What is the best property management in Bali?" So let's aim to be prepared on the first place for any question related to property management and be prepared for the AI search engine disruption. That's it for me. Back to Pandu.
Okay, thank you, Kak Gani, for the delivery. The second we have is from Agus. Agus, time is yours.
Yeah, so yesterday, me and Mas Gani printed the banner, the stand sign for to support the offline marketing, the offline effort, which is offline canvassing. The design is made by Kak Rifki. I think that's all. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the delivery, Agus. The next we have is from Kak Furkan. Kak Furkan, time is yours from our employee weekly mission inspiration side.
Yes. By the way, sorry, sir, that we skip your part because I believe you have presented it earlier on the video. So, yeah, last Friday actually we had a roundtable talk in Jogja-based office, and we there is no much different on the setting part, but the difference is that the guests coming are actually very targeted and they have specific purpose to come to the roundtable talk. So we have two segment of guests. The first one is the candidates from MBA Faculty of Economic and Business, University of Gajah Madah. They come to us for the selection process. Three of them, the three ladies on the right side of me, and 2 out of 3 have actually applied and gone to the pre-trial selection process. And and based on my observation, they are among the best two candidates that done the pre-trial task correctly. So basically, it is probably why we do many exposure on the Bukit Vista. They actually understand the culture and then go and then directly go straight into the pre-trial course easily. And we are ready to proceed them for trials this Friday. And then the other side, there is Edmund, the student from, what is it? Property management evaluation vocational school of OGM. and he is intended to have a research collaboration with Bukit Vista, and it is interested when I showed how we calculate our property values using a business plan. So later on, I will reach out to Bella soon and connect him with Bella to get more context, and probably also apply as business analyst internship as well. So that's basically the story, and back to you, Pandu.
Okay, thanks for the very inspiring story, Kak Furkan. The next we have is from Technological Innovation, Kak Krishna. Time is yours.
Okay, thank you, Pandu. So in Gaia structure team, we start to create target for each agent. So we measure impact for every new milestone. The first picture, please, Pandu. We set goals for Gaia hosting, which are maintain the stable communication on 85% monthly. As you can see on the images, this is sign that we don't achieve. So it is still unfinished and still requires focus on Gaia hosting agent. Stated by Kak Kaila that Gaia initially able to answer the first question correctly, but when the guest begging for exception multiple times, then Gaia start to give an exception on them. So this is a challenges that we need to solve. Next images, Pandu. For too long, our focus has been primarily on functionality, but now we are also paying attention on user experience and satisfaction because that's the key for user adoption on any automation. When you create tool that's just functional, but no one uses it, it's become useless. So what we are going to make, so what we have created on the previous milestone, number one, hyperlink to bigger cart. So user don't need to open bigger tab independently. Just click it on the simple click on the thread messages. Next image, Pandu. We also create shortcut, which is opt-in button for continue conversation. Usually, when Gaia is opt-out due to certain conflict, Gaia cannot answer the guest forever. But now we add option for ops team to include Gaia back into conversation when the sentiment is back to normal. Next images, Pandu. Oh, this is the rating. Also, we create critical category enhancement. We focus on improving critical categories such as late check-in requests and amenities checking to ensure efficient experience of guests. That's all. Stay tuned for the next update next week. Thank you, Pandu.
Okay, thank you, Kak Krishna, for the very inspiring technical information. Since we have reached the time limit, I'll hand over back to HR, Kak Furkan and Kak Shelin.
Okay. Thank you very much, Pandu. So yes, everyone, we will postpone the all hands, the rest of the all hands on the next Friday. Please wait for the announcement. We will inform it soon. And we basically would, but there is one announcement that cannot be postponed. So I would like to have Kashelin to announce this.
Okay, thank you, Furkan. So I'm announcing this on behalf of Felix, actually, as he couldn't make it for the all hands session. So Felix has handed in his resignation, and basically we have concluded that his last day of working in Bukit Vista will be on 20th of May 2024. So basically during this week, we'll help him like concluding the handovers of his projects, as well as some dependencies coming from his side to the engineering team, revenue management team, as well as the other team. And that would be the announcement from HR side. Thank you. And back to Furkan.
Okay, so basically that is the all hands for today. We will no worries, we will read the rest of the sessions, but we just postpone it into the other days. So see you guys and have a good week.
Oh, wait. Why don't you announce the promotions too as well? I think those are also pretty critical, Shailen.
Oh, okay, thank you, sir, for stepping up. Okay, Widya, can you help to share the promotion part?
Let me reshare the screen. So okay, thank you, Widya. So two promotions actually for the past week. I believe for Marcel's it was already announced via Slack the previous week, I believe. So we're here to congratulate Marcel, who is recently promoted as the President of Operations Trainee. So like previously as a VP, he supervised basically the operation side, the guest side, as well as the partner side. But currently, as per his new title, he will also cover for the marketing side, so for the BD side as well as the PAUM side. So basically, like the scope is actually getting bigger for Marcel side. So semangat Bre. And in addition to Marcel, Wahyu actually just finished his internship back on like 10th of May, and he's back, guys. So Wahyu is officially our full-time employee in the operations team as business analyst. So main focus will be on knowledge management as well as working on the business plan with the revenue management team with Bella mainly. So semangat Wahyu, Marcel, let's go. Thank you.
Okay, so I think that's it for all hands today. Thank you very much everyone for coming, and see you Friday. Bye-bye.
Bye bye. Thank you, everyone.
See you guys. Have a
Semangat
great
guys.